Hello and welcome to this first basic WoW add-on creation tutorial. In this first one we will focus on starting to learn Lua and how to set up a basic add-on that does what you want it to do and shows what you want. The add-on's functionality will not be that great. We will learn to use different events and functions later on. So this is just very basic. You've never done an add-on before. Let's look at what you need to do in order to set up an add-on. So um, an add-on consists of two parts, two documents at least, and they need to be placed in the add-on folder in your WoW interface folder. So if we go to our interface folder and our add-on folder, and we create a new folder, and we can call this my add-on. Then inside that folder I want to place two different files. The first file is a TOC file and the second file is a Lua file. So using Sublime Text 2 here as my editor, you can use whatever you want to, Notepad++, Notepad, text editor, anything. So when we have these two files here, the Lua file is going to contain your actual Lua code, whereas the add-on, the TOC file is going to have some settings, as you can say. If we go to our WoW window here, for example, and then press on the add-on, we can see that right now I have an add-on of mine called Chi, and this is a Chi bar for monks. And one of the things that we need in our TOC file is the simple text that pops up when you hover over it, for example the name and the description. So if we want that, all we have to do is we need to write two hashtags, space, and then we need some different values here. First we need an interface value. This is a number of interface is a number corresponding to the actual version of the WoW client, and this number we will figure out how to get in a bit later. Then we need a title, which can be whatever. Let's say my add-on. Then we need some notes, which will be the description. You don't, yeah, these you need. So that will be this is my cool add-on. Then you can actually edit an author, for example, if you want to. This will not be shown up here per se, but if people are looking at your add-on code, you will be able to see the author. So you can have that. I don't need that right now. Then you can have an email, for example, a URL, and then normally you have a version. So this will be version 1.0, for example, if this is the first version. And then you have the files that actually contain the code, which will be my addon.lua. You could also have, if you for example had a special frame, you can have my addon.xml to contain the frame, XML, like that. Or you can have more Lua. You can have my addon and you can have my addon options.lua if you want that. It's totally up to you. But for now we just need these nodes up here. So let's save that. And then the interface. Let's see how we actually get the interface number. What I'm normally doing is that I go, see here, online on WoWWiki. Then this is just something for later, but then I can search for interface version, like this. And WoWWiki is really good for add-on, if you need anything with add-ons. And here we can see that this is an interface version for patch 2.4. As of this video we are at 5.2. So, oh, sorry about that. From what I'm guessing is that we need something like 50, 200, but we are not sure. So if we see here, there are several ways to get the interface number. You can get it from here, but this is out of date. I checked it. You can check another add-on which is not listed as out of date. I don't want to do that. So let's see if we can actually use get build info to get the info. So let's copy this. Let's move into our WoW and let's log in. And let's try to run this in our chat. See, that did not work. Okay. Oh. That's exactly because I actually did not copy it correctly. That's weird. Let's see here. Copy. I don't know why. It works there. Let's see. And it prints out the number. So this is 5200 as I guessed. You can make a macro, for example, if you want that, to get the interface number. Not version, but let's say version. Paste it in, save it, pull to our action bar, you can just keep it there. Whenever we press it, prints out the version number. So it's pretty useful. So right now we know that the interface number is 5200. So 50,200. So let's try and save that, and then let's go into our Lua file. So specifically for how we are actually creating add-ons, we're going to use a language called Lua. And this language is a scripting language. And if you go to something like, see if I can remember that website, I never can, so lua.org, yeah, it's pretty basic. And it's an interface, or it's a language that is used for some interfaces. For example, in WoW, you can often go to the documentation to find problems if you're not familiar with Lua, but oftentimes your problems is actually with the WoW API and not with the Lua code. So therefore, it's much easier to check WoW Wiki for that specific Lua like error, you can say. But what I want to do today is just make really simple add-on that when you enter combat, it prints out you now enter combat. This is pretty simple, and it will not be for use for anything, but I'll show you how to do a few different things. So at first we need a variable that's our frame. We need our frame because to do things we need, it's not actually a physical or a frame in the game, but we need to create something that will register when we enter combat. And to do that we need a frame. You use frames for a lot of stuff in WoW. To do that we need a local variable, and local means that it can only be accessed by this file, and we don't want any other file to be able to access this. And I always just call it F for frame. Then we use create frame, and we call it something, and I just call it frame. It doesn't really matter. And then in Lua, you can at an end of a line, you can use a semicolon, as you do in many other languages, as C++, Java, for example, or you can not have it. It doesn't matter. It's not like MATLAB that only prints it out if you don't have a semicolon. It doesn't matter if you have it or not. I normally don't have it, just because it's one thing less to type. So now that we have this, let's actually go into the WoW wiki and check what create frame does. And right now we just give it a name, but it also have other uses. If we see here create frame, that was the wrong one I pressed on. So we see create frame here, and it has a lot of things. It has a frame type, name, parent frame, and inherit frame. And this is a really good place to, if you don't understand things, then go in and read here. There's examples of how you can do it, notes about it and stuff like that. But we don't have a parent frame. That means a frame that we, yeah, it actually says here the frame update that will be used as the created frame's parent, because this is like a parent that you have in, not a parent as a person, parent, your mother, but as a parent in programming. And then you can inherit stuff from another frame. You can have a name and a type. And just the type, we can use the XML tag frame. You can also use a button. This one we use a frame. It's just how I'm doing it. So now we've done that. We need some events because WoW is running on events. When you enter combat, an event happens. When you leave combat, an event happens. When you attack, an event happens. When you sell stuff, an event happens. When you open a window, an event happens. But we need to specify what events we want to listen to, because else there's too many events going on. So therefore we say the frame and the colon, and then the event that we need to register. And we register an event. And again, let's try and go into our wiki, and let's say register event, and we have an API frame here, and we need an object of F for frame. We need register event and then the event, and here we can see all the events. And let's go to the event API, and there is a lot of events. If we just take A, there's a lot of events, and all these events you can go through them whatever you want to, but this is too much. But right now we need a player, because we need when the player goes to combat. So we go under search for player. We can go into category here, player, and this is player related events, and we need something that combat, for example. So let's search for combat. Chat message, no. Some other things. Combat control gain, fires after the player, combat control lost event. This is okay. So this is, for example, when CC happens. It's not what we're using for. Fires when you enter combat. That sounds like it. As normal regen rates are disabled during combat. So this means that either you are in the hate list of an NPC, or that you're taking part of a PvP action. So this is when you cannot regen health or mana, which is kind of what we're looking for, because when you're in combat you cannot regen health or mana. So let's put that in. And this is when you enter combat, but we also want something when you leave the combat. So we make a new one, and we want register event, and right down under there's enabled, which is what we need for when we leave combat. So now we have that. So we listen to these two events, and when they happen, we can do stuff. So therefore we use F in object, then we say set script. And let's look at what set script does, because that was read it. That's another thing that we need to learn about. And set script, it needs a handler and a function, and the handler is a string that the handler attached to the function on show, on event, on a lot of stuff. We want to have on event because this script needs to run on an event, and the function it needs to call can be nil to remove the handler, or the function with an argument, for example frame stuff. What we're going to do is that we want the script to run on event, and then we need a function to run, and we need that function to have some arguments, and we need them to have self and event, and self is the player and event is an event. This is so we can actually use these things, and then we use 3 dots to just, we're not going to use the rest of the stuff that's available to us. And you can always go online to a wiki to check what the rest of the stuff is. In other add-ons I'll show you later, we will use that stuff, but right now we don't need to know what it is. And then we use this set script, we need to end it in the end. So we have this, but right now we can use print and then event. And let's try and see what this does. So let's open up WoW again. You need to close WoW whenever you load the add-on for the first time, and we haven't actually loaded it before. So therefore, I'll just start it up here on my external screen, so you cannot see my login details. There we go. Okay. So we have our add-on here, and oh, it's incompatible. Let's see here why. Why is it incompatible? Let's see. It's not out of date. Then it would be 50. Then it would say out of date. This could be because I left out, for example, author, and we can write myself and email. Oh, my email at something.com. And then we can do. I'm not sure how you do actually the URL. Let me check. Oh, it's actually all caps. URL reddit.com, for example. Let's check and see if that works. But we have to reload all of this, so we have to log out. Wow, this is, you don't have to log out every single time you change something in that add-on. As soon as you have loaded it up, you can change the Lua file, and then you can write a script in the chat, and it will reload your interface. But if you change the TOC file, you need to restart WoW, because that's like where it loads the add-on from the first time. Let's see if it works this time. See, okay, so it's because we needed these items here. Now they're there. So let's continue. You can move around where you want. It doesn't matter. But we have my alarm. Let's log in here and see what happens. Okay, there we go. So right now on the event, player region disabled and player region enabled, we should print out the events. So let's see if we. Oh, I'm lagging a lot here. Strange. Can't even target it. Let's see. Okay, so player region disabled, we went into combat, and when we went out of combat, we have player region enabled. But let's try and make a macro that can reload our interface. So, oh, that's just my friend logging in. I'm sure he don't mind. Let's see here. Let's make a new add-on. Find a random logo. There we go. Let's call it reload UI. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to write / console reload UI. And this will reload our UI. So right now we print out the event, but let's say we just want to print out the event when we enter combat. So let's say if, and then we can use event because we have the event up here, equal player region disable, that's enter combat. You can write a comment saying enter combat. You write comments with 2 dashes, not like in Java C++ where you use backslash. This is 2 dashes. And then we say print event, but we already kind of know what the event will be. But let's write something else. So let's write you are now in combat, and let's enter 2. Let's save it. Oh, I'm still using free version. I gotta get around to buy that. And now we should only print out when you go in combat. So now we can reload the UI. And let's try and go into combat. See where there's a cursed account. Let's kill that. So you're now in combat. Cool. That was kind of what we wanted. But I don't have any. We also wanted when we are out of combat. So we can do an else, but this will fire whenever we get any other event. So if we have another event, like I don't know, damage taken or something. I don't remember what the event name is for that. Then that would also print. So let's do an else if event equal player region enabled. Then let's say leave combat. You have whatever. You have left combat. And let's end that. And let's save it. And let's reload the UI. And see, now it's much faster. You don't have to start up WoW again and the client and all that stuff. And let's kill it. And it didn't actually do anything. So let's try and see if I just go close to this, will it attack me? Yep. It didn't actually do anything. Okay, that's funny. That oftentimes means there's a bug in the code and we can't do what we want to do. We don't get error messages if it's not like a serious error. So what I want to do is I want to try and end this, and then instead of having an else if, I'll just have an if. Save that, and then let's reload again. Let's try and see if we can see you're now in combat and you have left combat. So that's basically it. You can do a lot of stuff with just this. One of my add-ons is two of my add-ons basically based on this. Show and hide helm inside and outside combat, and show and hide a cloak inside and outside combat. It's just a pretty fun add-on. Just fixes not an error, but something that could be fun to add. So this is the first very basic tutorial. If you have any questions, post it on the Reddit thread or on the YouTube comment, and I will address them in a later video and answer them in the comments. If you have any specific add-on related events, functions you want to ask about, fire away. I'm not going to show you how to make a new Deadly Boss mod, or a grid or bartender, for example. But this and more advanced stuff, you can always look at my add-ons on WoW Interface to get that up. If you go, let's see here, I'll post the link in the comment section. But yeah, so that's it, and see you next time.